Hi, Murder Siblings. I'm Jana Rawls.
And I'm Mackenzie.
And we are the
Murder Sisters.
Today we have a story for you that hits close to home for us. In the small town of Livingston, Texas, which is only about an hour away from where we stay in Houston, there was a little girl who was much closer to her murderer than anyone suspected. At only 11 years old, Audrii and her parents fully expected a normal day of school. Only after school did they realize she had never made it onto the bus. This is the story of Audrii Cunningham. On February 15th, 2024, Audrii grabbed her Hello Kitty backpack and headed towards the bus stop. She had an adult companion to walk with her, and the trip was about a half mile to get to the bus stop. His name was Don Stephen McDougal. He actually goes by Stephen, so from now on, we'll refer to him like that. Anyways, Stephen was not her dad, but he was a friend of her dad, I guess. And he stayed out there on their property. He regularly took her to the bus stop or to school if they missed the bus.
But, who is Steven? How did he end up, with the dad on the property?
Honestly, I'm not 100% sure. All the research that I've done, I can't find where their friendship originated from. Most of the sources that I find online just say that he's a friend of the family or he's a friend of Audrii's dad, Joshua Cunningham. Anyways, Joshua lives with his mom, Tabitha Munch, and Stephen lives on the property with the two of them. And obviously Audrii lives there as well. But honestly, dude seems like bad news bears to me. He just looks creepy. My red flags are definitely up, even if this hadn't happened. Mm-hmm. Here's a picture of him. So can you look at it and tell me what you see?
Yeah. He looks really scary. I don't know. He has tattoos all over the place. Very scary tattoos. His head is the only thing that is not covered in tattoos, and it happens to be bald. So he's just bald on his head. Sorry. He has his tongue hanging out, and he has no teeth, and his eyes are really small and scary looking. He's bald. He's clean shaven on this, and he has a swastika on his well, it looks like the left one to me, but to him it would be his right shoulder. He's throwing up some gang signs or something in this picture, because I don't like that. Okay, he looks normal in the first picture. I thought he looked scary here. No. Mom, why would you do this to me? Why would you show me the pictures? This is gonna haunt my nightmares for the rest of my life.
Okay, if you guys want to see the pictures, they're on the website.
It's terrifying.
Go and take a look and see if you think he's as scary looking as Mackenzie.
Don't take a look. He's scary, guys. Trust.
I will say he's pretty scary looking. I mean, dude has a swastika on one of his shoulders. But maybe, let's just give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe dude is a decent guy, right?
No
maybe
way.
he just had made bad choices in tattoos. Just saying.
That's not an accident. You don't make bad choices accidentally. I'm gonna go get a swastika tattooed on me. I think that'd be so fun. No, it's not an accident. That was very much intentional.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with you, but what does his background say? I asked you to do a little bit of digging on him. Did you find anything?
Yeah, he was, not a good guy. He had a really, long criminal record. It went on for a while. And according to Newsweek, he has an extensive criminal history, including convictions for theft, driving while intoxicated, unauthorized use of a vehicle, drug possession, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and one for enticing a child? Enticing?
Yes.
What is that?
I'll tell you.
Luring a kid into a van? A kidnapper van?
Sort of.
Okay.
So in Texas, the charge for enticing a child just means that someone interfered with the custody of a child younger than 18 years by enticing, persuading, or taking the child from the custody of their parent or guardian.
So he, lured this kid out, hey, man, let's go get McDonald's. You can come live at me, and I'll get you McDonald's every day.
Creepy, right?
That is so terrifying.
So listen,
What
it's
is
even
going on
worse.
here?
It's even worse than you're imagining, because, yes, that would be enticing a child. especially if you know the child.
yeah.
It's not kidnapping.
Yeah.
But like,
You're
hey, honey,
yeah,
your mom
yeah.
said, like, yeah, creepy.
Gotta give the parents a break, you know?
Yeah, totally terrifying. Usually this is a misdemeanor charge, but in Texas it can actually get bumped up to a felony if the attempt for the child is to get sexual gratification for the abuser. Yeah, so obviously his got bumped up to a felony. Listen, but there's more.
Oh my god, there's always more.
Yes. So then, when you look up the records for this particular crime that happened in March of 2007,
Okay. That's a little too close.
according to click2houston.com, Stephen removed another female from the bed where this 10-year-old little girl was sleeping.
What?
Another source said that the little girl was his niece. I'm not sure which side of the family, or if, some people say, oh, this is my niece, but they're not really related. But another source did call the little girl his niece. He removed the mother and got into bed with this little girl and pulled her pajama bottoms and her panties down.
No. Lock him away. Lock
Yes.
him away for like life.
So
Oh
apparently
my
the
God.
little girl's mom, she reported it to police. And when
Good.
she reported it, she said the little girl told her he had called her his ex-wife's name when he was getting into bed with her.
What?
Yeah. But it gets worse.
Why did he get out of jail? Why did they let him go?
I don't know.
Did they take him to jail, or was he out on like
He was
bail?
arrested. So originally they tried to charge him with attempted indecency with a child. Attempted being the operative word there because he didn't successfully get to be indecent with the child.
That doesn't matter. He tried.
Yeah, he tried. And
What?
so they just gave him a slap on the wrist and they sent him to jail. I think they sentenced him to like 2 years, but he got credit for time served. So he was really not even in jail very much longer after they sentenced him to the 2 years.
That's fake.
Gross. Yeah, so let's move away from Stephen and move back to the real person of focus here, which is Audrii. So Audrii grabbed her backpack that morning and she was going down to the bus stop. She left with Stephen. There's kind of a lot of speculation about where her parents were in this. So first off, you should know that her mom, Cassie, isn't that involved.
Okay.
So it
like her
seems.
dad has like custody, or
Her-
are they together?
They're not together. Okay, so there's been a lot. If you Google this, you'll go down a rabbit hole because there's allegations from people like you and I who observe things, and they're saying that Cassie wasn't involved because she was on drugs, she had lost custody, she was not in her daughter's life, but she disputes those. She says she wasn't on drugs. People are just speculating. But she does admit that she hadn't seen her daughter in a while, so she didn't have a close relationship with her. They had a spotty relationship at best. Cassie says she was trying to get her life together, right?
Okay.
There's also speculation about that. You could look that up on your own time. So Cassie wasn't in the picture that much. Audrii's dad, Joshua Cunningham, which we're going to call him Josh. I'm not sure if he really goes by that or not. But there was a text message that we saw from Cassie to Josh, in which she did call him Josh, so we're just going to assume most people who's named Joshua go by Josh. Anyway, so Josh lived there with his mom, and I guess this guy, Stephen McDougal, lived in a camper out back. The morning of February 15th, Audrii goes down to the bus stop with Stephen, which isn't uncommon. They pass some neighbors, they usually stop and talk. Well, on this particular day, February 15th, the neighbors noted after the fact, after she was reported missing, oh, well, they didn't stop by this morning to pet the animals, the dogs or whatever. Which is weird because they do every day because this little girl, Audrii, loves animals. So she's always stopping to pet the animals. So just another red flag. Like, why didn't she stop?
Yeah. And you said she was with McDougal?
She was with Stephen, right? So that puts him being the last person to see her because she never made it onto the bus. She never made it to school. But
It's a red flag for me.
Josh, Cassie, and Tabitha were unaware of this. They didn't know that she hadn't made it to school. Stephen pretended everything was fine. Everybody went about their normal day. This is where things get confusing because we can't find any real reputable sources for this information. Like I said, you go kind of down a rabbit hole when you research this case, and you see a lot of speculation and you hear a lot of hearsay. A lot of things are said by Cassie, whom, again, wasn't in the house. She wasn't really that involved. She was wanting to be. She has text messages, asking to see her daughter. Anyway, she states in one of her interviews that the school notified Josh that she was not at school around 1 p.m. It was just an automated deal saying, hey, your student had an absence today.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking. But I don't have confirmation of this. This is speculation. So, allegedly, he got this text message from the school around 1 p.m. saying she wasn't at school today. Which, as a parent, if I send my child off to school and they're not there, red flag.
Yeah.
But, also according to Cassie, not that concerned. Josh was not that concerned. He wasn't worried about it. Anyways, a little while later, about 5 o'clock p.m., he starts looking for her. Joshua and his mom were looking in the woods behind their house, like trying to ask neighbors or whoever if they'd seen her. Just kind of doing a small scale like investigation of their own. When they found out that wasn't panning out, when they got a little more concerned, about 5:30, they called police. I also can't confirm who called police. Most sources say family member called police. Some sources say Cassie herself called because Tabitha... Okay, stick with me, this gets messy.
Okay.
Like everything else in this story. Cassie has a fiance.
Okay.
We're just going to call him fiance. And said fiance has parents, of course. So Tabitha reaches out to fiance's mother, lets her know that Audrey's missing. So then, obviously, mother-in-law calls Cassie and is like, hey, I've got Tabitha here and she's telling me Audrey's missing. Cassie's like, what? Why didn't she notify me? But I guess there's some turmoil and some beef between the families, between Josh and Cassie.
Yeah.
So anyways, Cassie talked to Tabitha on the phone and asked questions about this and that. And it's at this moment it came to light that Stephen had recently reached out, recently being the day before, Valentine's Day, had reached out to Cassie about setting up a secret meeting to see Audrey.
Stephen?
The
creepy guy?
The creepy guy. Yes.
Had
Stephen
reached out to her mom.
Yes.
To set a date to see her?
So that Cassie could see Audrey. Right.
Oh, okay.
Joshua wasn't letting Cassie see Audrey.
Okay.
Stephen was reaching out to Cassie. And actually, she's got all sorts of messages, too, about him propositioning her for sex. So there's that. But this particular day, he reached out and he said...
Asking about the girl.
He said, Audrey's been asking about you. She wants to see you. She's nervous, though, because her dad and his family's been telling her things about you, bad things. So she's nervous. She doesn't know what kind of person you are. But I'm in your corner, and I really want you to meet her, and I really think it's important for her to meet you. And he is trying to convince Cassie to meet.
Had they, never met before, or what's going on there?
They had met. That's why I said she was kind of spotty in her life. She hadn't seen her in a long time.
In a while.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
And Audrey was only 11. She had just turned 11.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah, she was kind of going based off of what other people said, and they weren't good things that they were saying.
Yeah, I understand.
And so this guy is pretending to be this good guy, right? I want you to meet your daughter. I want y'all to have a relationship.
He wants something else.
Yeah, I think it's crappy that you're not allowed to see her. So I'm going to help you. I'm going to advocate for this. But Audrey told me that your fiance creeps her out and he can't come. It has to be just you. No. You alone. Only you, me, and Audrey.
I don't like that.
Nothing red flag about this, right?
Yeah, how convenient for him.
Oh, yeah. So Cassie she was feeling these flags, right? She's like, what the hell? What do you mean? Like, she doesn't know my fiance. Why would she think bad things about him? And if you're advocating for me to see my daughter because people are putting things into her head, why wouldn't you be advocating that my choice in partner is also good?
Yeah, like she had never even seen this man, never met him. Obviously, she hadn't talked to her mom in that long. How can she say, okay, he creeps me out? She had never met that man.
Right.
Just a small red flag, nothing major at all. Definitely not.
Yeah. Also, in the text messages, they're really creepy. This is February 14th at 11:41 p.m.
The day before she was killed?
The day before she was killed. This is Stephen in a message to Cassie. I'll come get you, and if need, your dude, if you will come and get your world rocked for one night, and I'll give you a truck and title.
What?
Yeah, no thanks.
Get your world rocked
Yeah.
for one night? It's crazy. That's
You,
crazy.
for real.
And this man, looking like that, he has no audacity to be able to say anything like this. Like, hit the block button, girlie. Hit the block
Slimy.
button. I'm so scared. Is she with it? Is she like, yeah, let's do it? Or is she like, she has a fiance, but like, maybe she's like a sketchy individual.
Yeah, well, I don't have the full conversation on that, but I do have her following message in which she said, I'm going to need proof, and I'm going to need to know that it's not a stolen vehicle. And he responded with, that's no problem.
Okay, so she was into it.
Yeah, she was
She was
definitely
trying to get that
considering
bag.
it. So from here, the conversation kind of shifted back onto him trying to get her and Audrii together. He was actually trying to set it up for the next day, which is when she went missing. But Cassie was worried. Her messages indicate that she was worried that somebody would find out, that it would make her look worse. It would make her case look worse. She was trying to get back in the good graces of Audrii's dad, trying to be able to see her on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. And
I mean, she just wanted her daughter back.
yeah, she wanted a relationship with her daughter, and she thought, if we do this and Audrii says something, or if they find out about this, it'll be the end to me. They will never let me see her again, and I can't run that risk. Also in the text, he stated, I'm your daughter's favorite person, and she will not tell.
What?
Yeah, like creepy, right?
I don't like that at all.
Yeah. No. Another time, he reiterates it and says, and she won't say anything to them.
That sounds pretty forceful. I don't like that. That's scary.
Yeah, well, like, it makes me think that he knows she won't say anything because something's been going on behind closed doors that she's already not been saying anything about.
Yeah.
You know, he probably has a secret with her already. So after she was reported missing, police issued an Amber Alert, and then Crime Stoppers offered a $7,000 reward for information leading to her whereabouts. Okay, that was the day she went missing. 2 days later, on February 17th, Stephen was arrested for an unrelated charge of aggravated assault.
Okay, that's wild.
Dude's bad news bears. He's not a good guy at all. So now he's incarcerated. He's already a person of interest. They're already suspicious of him. So he was already on police's radar. Obviously, police stated that he was being wishy-washy and would only talk to them sometimes, and then other times he would shut it down and not be willing to talk at all. He admitted to police that he was leaving the house with her to walk her to the bus stop, but then he wouldn't confirm that they made it to the bus stop. Like, dude, just stop talking. Yeah. They could never get confirmation because he just wouldn't say.
This is like a red flag.
Exactly.
It's like a big red flag hanging off somebody's truck.
Exactly. So, anyways, on the 19th, officials found a backpack that was roughly 5 miles from their house near the Lake Livingston Dam. And after they found this and they did some testing, they determined it was Audrii's, her little red Hello Kitty backpack. So, obviously, that's a clue. They start scouring the area because they're looking for additional clues. They enlisted the help of the Trinity River Authority, who slowed down the water flow from the reservoir. And it dropped the water levels so they could see things that they otherwise wouldn't be able to see. So the next day, using sonar technology and the help of divers, investigators found Audrii's body, and her remains were finally sent off for forensic testing and autopsy. On February 21st, Stephen was charged with capital murder.
Yeah, that guy's like really weird and just bad vibes. A big red flag, you know? But why did they arrest him? Was there proof that he did something or what?
Yeah, so according to KTRE, the arrest affidavit states that they used cell phone data, video footage, and other forensic evidence that led them to determine he lied about where he was on February 15th, which is the day she went missing. Another piece of evidence came from a rope that was tied to a rock and tied to Audrii's body to weigh her down. 2 days before she went missing, police stopped him and they saw a similar rope in his vehicle, so obviously the general consensus is that it's the same rope.
Okay.
I'm not sure if they've done any kind of forensic testing on it. That hasn't been stated in any of the research that I've done. Just, they keep stating it's an assumption it's the same rope. So when the autopsy report came back, it revealed that she died from homicidal violence, including blunt head trauma. obviously, this is a really tragic story, and one that could have been prevented.
Hey, why did he kill her?
So, unfortunately, because this case is so new, we don't know. He's not really talking. He's not given any reason to why. I mean, it's all speculation, but obviously in 2007, he had some sort of a sexual arousal with a child that was roughly the same age as Audrii. And I told you, red flag earlier, that he was saying, oh, I know she won't tell anybody.
Yeah.
He also said, I'm her favorite person. I think probably there was sexual stuff going on long before he murdered her. And then maybe she had threatened to tell somebody or fight back. Maybe she decided, this isn't right and I don't want this anymore. And he snapped.
Yeah.
Of course, this is all just my personal opinion. It's nothing that I found in research. Again, he's kind of clammed up and isn't really stating anything about why he did what he did. But obviously, this is a really tragic story, and in my opinion, one that could have been prevented. It's so sad that another law has to be named after a child who lost their life due to something that should have already been in place. But Audrii's law is no different. It's currently being proposed to expand the sex registry requirement so that if an offender pleads to a lesser sexual crime, like the one that Stephen did, that he was charged with in 2007, with that 10-year-old little girl, then with this new law, he would still have to register as a sex offender, which right now, he kind of went through a loophole where it was a sexual crime against the child, but he didn't have to register. So if you or I would have looked him up, we wouldn't have seen him listed as a registered sex offender.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. But in all reality, we don't even know if this would have made a difference for little Audrii. And honestly, it makes my stomach hurt to say that, but
yeah, because he knew her. He didn't just find her.
He knew her, and he had so many red flags that her family ran through. They didn't care that he was a felon. They didn't care that he had previously made threats, death threats against other people multiple times. They didn't care he was a drug user. They didn't care that he had a swastika tattooed on his shoulder. I mean, this guy screamed terrible person, and they still allowed him to live on their property and babysit this little girl. So, of course, the family says, oh, it would have been different if we knew he was a sex offender. But would it?
Well, obviously, since, like, the family went through the red flags anyways, like, even if they knew he was a sex offender, they already went through so many others. He literally has a swastika tattooed onto him for life. And it's big, it's bold, it's dark. It's going to take a lot of money and a lot of, like, removal process to get that off. Like, it's on him. Like, they went through all these red flags. I don't think it would have mattered if they would have known. I think they would have just brushed it off, like the swastika. And been like, okay, this is fine. It's whatever.
Yes, and sadly, I agree 100% with that. He had every other red flag you can have to say, hey, maybe this guy shouldn't be babysitting my child. And they still let him.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you guys would like to help, we've included links on our website to donate to a scholarship set up in Audrii's name at Livingston ISD. They said that school was her happy place and she thrived there, and they wanted to create a scholarship in her name to help another student thrive when, sadly, she cannot. We've also included links to donate to EcuSearch, which is a nonprofit organization that provides search and recovery services to families of missing persons and law enforcement. They never charge for their services and utilize resources such as ground searchers, side scan sonar, ground penetrating radar, boats, aircrafts, drones, and ATVs. Probably you'll hear them a lot on these podcasts because EcuSearch is very big and very helpful in many, many cases. So you guys, go and donate if you want. Thanks for supporting our podcast. And don't forget to share us with your friends.
Visit our website at themurdersisters.com for a full list of references for this episode or to suggest future cases. Music written and performed by Clay Wise and JP Greenlee. Bloopers!
That was my line.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so confused right now.
Oh.
He looks like he smells like cat pee.
He may. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Oh my god.
Yes,
Old
McDougal.
Sorry. That's all I can
That could have been his theme song while he's trying to entice children. Okay. Okay, cut it out. stop laughing.
Side scan stoner.
Yeah.
Snoner.
Side scan schooner.
The heebie-jeebies.
Exactly.